Okay, I'd like to show you an overview of an application called Live Looper. Live Looper runs on Microsoft Windows and is available for download and install from the Microsoft Store. There's a link in the description of this video if you'd like to go ahead and download and install the application. Live Looper in a nutshell is a backing tracks player that allows you to create full song backing tracks. Your songs can have as many parts as you want. Here I've got a song, CCR's Bad Moon Rising, and these are all the various parts of the song. Your song can have intros, outros, endings, verses, choruses, solos, etc., as many parts as you want. Your song will play in the default sequence that you define, but you can, if you want, dynamically change the sequence or the playing of the song while it's playing, just like you would with when you're playing with live musicians. For example, let's say that you're playing a song and there are a lot of people out on the dance floor and you want to go ahead and extend that song. You might want to extend the solo, you might want to play extra choruses. With Live Looper, you can do that. You can change the song's progression while it's playing. You can control Live Looper with a USB foot switch. I've got a USB 3-button USB MIDI foot switch here that I use to control the application. And I can assign whatever features that I want to control of the application to the various buttons on the foot switch. They sell foot switches with as many as 12 buttons. I happen to only have a 3-button foot switch, so I pick my 3 favorite things to control in the application, and I assign those to the buttons of the foot switch. Using the foot switch, of course, allows you to keep your hands on your instrument at all times. I am a guitar player and a singer, so my backing tracks consist of bass and drum sound, and I play guitar and sing over top of that, and I want to be able to keep my hands on the guitar, and so I use the USB foot switch to control the application while I'm playing. The application, of course, allows you to have as many songs as you want ready to play. For this demonstration, I'm going to use CCR's Bad Moon Rising. I picked that because the parts of the song are very short. You can see most of the parts are 11 seconds or so. And so it'll allow me to demonstrate things very quickly because the song is going to be moving from part to part very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to start out showing some very basic song play options in the application, and then later on we'll get a little bit fancier. But I want to start you out with some kind of basic. We're just going to let the song play through the default sequence. And then I think what I'll do is I'll extend one of the parts. You know, I mentioned the ability to extend solos, the ability to repeat choruses. I'll do something along those lines, and then we'll stop the song and we'll get a little fancier in just a bit. So here we go. I'm going to use the foot switch to get started. I've assigned this button to be play stop, to control play and stop. So a couple things you're going to notice when I'm not going to push the button yet because I want to explain a couple things. There's going to be a couple second countdown to allow you to get ready before the song starts playing. I found that without the countdown, I wasn't ready to play when the system started playing sound. So there is a countdown to allow, and you can control however many seconds you want that to be, and it gives you a chance to get ready. It's also going to play a count before the song starts so that you get a feel for the tempo of the song and you know exactly when it's going to start. That is optional, but all of my songs have it because I like having a count in. So with that, let's go ahead and I'm going to push this button on the foot switch, and there's the countdown, and it'll play the count. Then it starts into the song. So as the song's playing, when it gets near the end of the part, you'll see this turns red before it's about to move on to the next part. And it's going to progress through the song in the order that you see here by default. Now when it gets down to this chorus, I'll extend the chorus using the loop continue button, which is right here. So I'm going to let it go to the chorus. Okay, it's on the chorus, and I'm going to press this button here, which will start that part looping. and it'll loop as long as I want it to until I tell it to stop looping. So this is the ability to extend solos, to extend choruses. And then once you're happy with that part that you're playing, you just simply click that same loop continue button right here, and it'll move on in the song. And there it goes on to the next part. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the song now by pushing the play stop button. And there we go, it stops. And then one other feature I want to show you is this center button on my foot switch I have assigned to what I call on-demand sound. That allows me to have dynamic song endings so that I can, you know, with a live band, you would turn to the drummer and kind of move your instrument up and down to tell them, hey, we're about to hit that last note. Well, that's what this button does. Hear that? And I can press it as many times as I want. That's called on-demand sound. You can have any sound you want as your on-demand sound. I happen to have a bass and a drum, a crash cymbal, and a bass and a drum. But it can be any sound you want. So that's an example of basic song play in the app following the default defined sequence, but then changing it a little bit by extending some parts, either extending a solo or doing additional choruses. Okay, now I'd like to get a little bit fancier and show you how we can dynamically, not only with just looping certain parts, but actually changing the progression of the song as it's playing. So what I did is I retrained my foot switch. Again, I only have a 3-button foot switch, so I have to pick what 3 features I want to use for these buttons. And so now what I have is I have play, stop here. I have previous part here and next part here. So you can see on the screen, we're now on the intro. And if I push this button here, see how it moves parts forward and backwards. So now with my foot switch, I can control what part I'm on. Now the song's not playing right now, but I can still move the current part using the foot switch and start the song anywhere I want. So for example, a lot of times I'll practice leads or solos, and so I'll just go down to the lead part and I'll start the song there. And so I'll use the foot switch to press the play button. It'll start playing the lead, and then let's say that from the lead we want to jump up to the first verse while the song is playing. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to get set to start at the lead. I'll go ahead and press the play button, and it'll do the same stuff that you saw before. It's going to do the countdown, and you'll hear the count in, so you'll be ready to play when the lead part starts. Once the lead part starts playing, I'm going to jump up to the first verse while the song is playing, and then we'll kind of bounce around from there. So here we go, pressing start. Count down. There's the count in, and we're going. So now I'm going to go up to the very first part there, very first verse. And let's say from the first verse we want to go back to the lead again. So I'm pressing this button on the foot switch to move around, and it's going to play the remainder of the first verse here, and then it'll jump down to the lead verse. So you can see we can jump around in the song as it's playing. And then what I'll do is I'll let it finish the next lead part, and then we'll jump down to the outro and end the song. So there we go. We're going to jump down to the outro, and we'll let the song end. And what I want to show you is when the song ends, it's going to automatically move to the next song in my set list. So we'll let it play out here. And you see it's about ready to move to the next song. I can control the number of seconds that it waits before moving, and now it moved on to the next song in the current set list. Okay, a couple other things I want to show you that we can control with a foot switch. I've retrained my foot switch. Again, they sell foot switches with up to 12 buttons on them. Mine only has 3. So now I have play stop here, and I've got volume up and volume down. You can control the volume of the songs in Live Looper so that all your songs play at the same volume. And a lot of times when you're playing, you start out a song and you're like, well, my backing tracks aren't loud enough, or they're too loud. Well, you can adjust using the foot switch the volume of the backing track while the song is playing, or while the song's not playing. So this is volume up. You can see right here my volume is currently set to 65%. If I push volume up, now my new volume is 75, 85. I can control the increment that this jumps by, and I, of course, have volume down as well. And I can do the same while the song's playing. If I'm playing the song and while the song's playing, I'm thinking, gee, I'd really like my backing tracks to be a little louder. I'll go ahead and start the song. We're now on Susie Q. There's Susie Q, and if I determine that I want to hear it louder, I can make it much louder. Or if I think it's too loud, I can bring the volume down. So very easy to control the volume with the foot switch while you're playing, and it's very nice to be able to have that control, because a lot of times you'll get into a song and you'll really want to adjust the volume of the backing track, and you can do that with Live Looper. And one final thing I want to show is you can also advance through your song list using the foot switch. I've, of course, retrained my 3-button foot switch so that this is now play stop. This is next song, this is previous song. So if I push it, right now we're on Susie Q, and I push this and we've now moved on to Memphis, Tennessee. And if I push this button, which is previous song, we're back to Susie Q. And so on and so forth. And I can just kind of march through the list here. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the Live Looper application. It's a great application made to allow you to perform live with backing tracks, but have the feel of playing with live musicians, with that ability to control the flow of the song as it's playing, and of course allowing you to do things that you would need to do in a live situation, like control your volume, move amongst the songs, or have the system move from song to song for you automatically, which I showed as well. Okay, and so that's a good overview of the Live Looper application. Again, available in the Microsoft Store. Use the link in the description for this video if you'd like to download and install it. Thanks for listening.